Welcome, everybody, to Movies, Comics, Uranus. This is the MCU podcast with Chris and Frogger.
Buttholes.
Buttholes. I almost considered starting it with Uranus and
Mm-hmm.
just see if anyone would want to correct me on that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm like, maybe there's like people from Minnesota who are like, no, we call it Uranus. You're the weird ones. I don't know why they're Canadian, but I feel like Minnesotans and Canadians have a very similar accent to one another.
I don't know, man. But we have a few things to discuss this week. We have some awesome Guardians numbers to go over because things got serious over this past weekend. And a few other things. But something to keep in mind is I've been kind of in the dark for the past half a week.
Been in the dark and just news, you just haven't been able to follow it.
I haven't been able to follow it because over starting Friday, my dad was in the hospital getting spinal surgery.
But he's okay?
He's fine. He actually, for those of you wondering, he got a spinal fusion extension, actually, which was a 7-hour procedure where they had to slice his back open and shove plates and rods into his spine.
Ooh.
And luckily they didn't have to do what they thought they were going to have to do, which was take out all the old equipment and redo it, which was why he was able to go in Friday and come back Monday.
Okay, well, that's good.
Which is pretty rad. And do you want to know what the fun thing was?
What's the fun thing? I saw you playing a lot of Diablo.
I was playing a lot of Diablo. It was good times. Or I played Diablo, then got kicked off of fucking PSN, and then because of the firewall at the hospital, and then wasn't able to remote back in for hours. So I just had Diablo running in the background. But so we were in the recovery room. We were talking to my dad. He looks like he's been beat the fuck up because he was face down during the surgery. Saw the blood go into his face.
Mm-hmm.
And doctor walks in and goes, "Oh, hi. I worked on Michael here. My name is Dr. Spock."
Did you like stop for a moment?
I did not have a chance because he didn't stop talking.
I would have just looked around and I'd have been like, am I being punked? Is there someone hiding around the corner who's gonna pop up and be like, you thought I was Spock?
But it was just funny that he said his name that just wouldn't stop.
I imagine you probably must get it a lot. Like, you can't have been the only nerd to ever be at that doctor's office. So I imagine he's just like, I'm just not going to give people the opportunity to comment on it.
He's probably dealing with it forever.
Yeah, he's just like, fuck it. I don't even have time to fucking let these fucking kids humor me on this shit.
But yeah, so that's been my last couple of days. So anything that happened over the weekend, I picked up bits and pieces. Like one of my favorite tweets, I don't know if you saw it, and I retweeted it, from the upcoming director of Doctor Strange. Did you see his tweet?
I saw one he had with the Lego figurine. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, where he was playing apparently Lego Marvel for the fun of it. And then he just tweeted a picture of the Doctor Strange Lego. It said "spoiler alert," which was
I did
funny.
like that.
That was a nice little touch. And so yeah, that's actually been the first thing he talked about with Doc Strange since the.
It's worth noting that his Twitter bio officially notes that he's the director now of that.
Yeah, it's the upcoming director of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, so it's still weird because we're in that point where like Marvel hasn't, like, they've officially announced it but not officially yet. Like, they've announced they're working on it in interviews, but they've never officially been like on a website posted, hey, we're doing Doctor Strange yet.
Probably because they're going to announce a few things at once. They want to announce an actor, which we'll be getting into in a bit. They want to announce actor title, all that nonsense. But I think right now Marvel is just focusing on Shield, because because they started the marketing machine for Shield now.
Yeah, Shield is what, like about a month?
About a month away, maybe 3 weeks away, something like that.
It's coming up very soon.
It is, and I've noticed that the Shield Twitter has now become active with saying, like they were showing, like pictures of Ward saying whose side is he really on, blah 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 blah, all that.
Like, dickhead side. That's the side he's on.
Yeah, the side that murders people.
The jerk face side.
The side that murders Patton Oswalt 1.
Don't worry, we've got 2 more. Thankfully,
you've got a spare. But yeah, so that machine has started up. So yeah, they're still heavily marketing Guardians because Guardians is doing above and beyond.
Fucking ridiculous. Do we want to start with that?
We will start with that. We will. I think we want to start with box office numbers, but we're not there yet. But we just want to go into some of the base things. But all in all, I think Marvel will start talking about Doc Strange soon once it's appropriate, because this is a movie that still has a long way out.
And it may be that they'll kind of sit on it for a little bit. Because Avengers is going to be the next big movie. So they may want to sit on it a little bit Or maybe they'll
Well,
announce it before the Avengers stuff kicks in, just so that doesn't get lost in the shuffle or take
they
away.
they might announce it during some things, but right now Marvel is focusing on their three things, which is Ant-Man, Avengers, and Shield. So I think the Ant-Man stuff will start kicking up again. It does look like my prediction that Marvel's gonna be very open during their Ant-Man is proving kind of true, isn't it?
Thus far they have it. We've seen a lot of leaked photos and stuff like that. I don't have that in my news for this week because
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not a fan of talking about leaked photos
Mm-hmm.
per se. But
Marvel's not doing a lot of takedowns on them either, which usually they
no,
do. I think it's because they're just trying to be like, this is a movie that we cannot just have under wraps. We need to have
that
this be a little open.
I think anything, as long as it's not anything that endangers the script of the story, they don't
Correct.
care. If it's something that's like, hey, look, Scott Lang's fucking downtown, he's hanging out with Evangeline Lilly, they're just like, whatever, just let that sit out there. No need to.
Yeah, and so they're letting that kind of stuff go out there, and I think that they're probably going to be putting on a lot more public stuff. I'm imagining we are going to get a trailer eventually soon, but a little
I'm,
earlier than normal, I would imagine.
the one thing I'm hoping for, and this is what I'm waiting on. I want a photo of him in the Ant-Man costume soon. I'm hoping that's like the next official released image.
Probably will be because it all depends on how confident they are in the suit itself.
I have to imagine, like,
When I mean confident, I mean confident that it will start to turn hearts.
oh, okay.
Like if it's a little radical and you need to get used to it, then probably
I mean,
not.
they've showed us concept art of what it is going to
They
be.
have, and that was also the poster for Comic Con. Had
Well,
the
we
suit
also
on it.
got it during the special they did last year during that week off from Agents of Shield,
Hmm.
building the cinematic world or something like that.
We got that. We got it in there, yes. But
Yeah,
that's just my feeling on why they may hold off on it for a little while. But I think that they are going to start kicking into gear with Ant Man because they were pretty tight lipped on Avengers until it was fucking done.
yeah.
Until it was almost Comic Con, and they're like, "Here's Avengers stuff," which already feels like we already know more about Ant Man than we did Avengers. But I feel like that is just because of what has to happen with this movie because of the bad online press with it.
Which I feel like is starting to die down a little bit.
It is
Like
starting to die down, yeah.
you have your pocket corners of internet shitheads who are just going to like they're never going to get over it. It's just a simple fact of the matter that they've created an enemy for themselves that they're going to enjoy beating on for the rest of the time this movie ever exists. But for the most part, I feel like there's a lot more optimism towards this movie now.
There is, and a lot of it does have to do with Guardians.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
God,
So
Guardians is.
Guardians. Guardians did some crazy shit. First of all, it took a new record,
Mhm.
and that record was the first movie of the year to take number one twice in non-consecutive weekends.
What would
Which
be the other one that did that?
none of them. It was the first one.
Oh, it was the first one. Okay, I thought it says the second one. Sorry.
No, to get first place in non-consecutive weekends. Yeah, so that's new. I don't know the last. That doesn't happen very often.
I was about to ask. Like, I watch movies pretty frequently now, but this is sort of a new thing for me, so I wasn't sure how often this sort of thing actually happens.
What'll tend to happen is that it'll have a week off in between.
Hmm.
Sometimes, like if a big movie comes out, it'll be like, "Oh, here I am," and then it will be first, and then it will die off again. But it usually doesn't have a 2 week break and then comes back, and then might hold it for another weekend after it. That usually doesn't happen, especially in the day and age now where the shelf life is a lot smaller
Hmm.
in the theaters. I mean, hell, the shelf life is much different in the past 5 years than it was. But yeah, Guardians also did another record where it is now the biggest movie of the summer.
Hmm.
Not of the year yet,
Not yet.
but it's getting there. Guardians is still making an obscene amount of money day on day. I mean, just yesterday it made 1.6
That's insane. The movie's been out like almost a month, and it's making $1.6 million on a Monday,
on a Monday. Fun
which
fact,
I have to imagine probably still number one movie.
it was, by the way. It actually beat Ninja Turtles by 400,000,
There you go.
which when we're talking about a million to 1.2 is actually a lot.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second here. It is now 6 million away from Captain America the Winter Soldier.
It's going to beat that by the maybe not by the weekend. If not, though, it will beat it over the weekend.
They're now definitely saying it's going to make at least 300 mil.
Yeah, and that's huge. That's insane.
For a
And the
new
movie,
property with that's this wacky.
yeah, with the new property, this wacky. In addition, it's also going to have.
Completely, it has some. It's an unknown property. It's a proper, and the movie does not have that big of stars in there. The biggest stars being like Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel, I guess.
Yeah,
Chris Pratt just being big at the moment, but not
mhm.
a
He's
not
not
really a
that.
name to sell the
Yeah,
movie.
he was good in Lego Movie, but you couldn't say the entire movie's success would be based off of his star power.
It's good. It's one of those
Yeah,
things
star
where
power.
now he has it.
Yeah, if you're going to look towards anyone in the future to be like the big star in Hollywood right now, it's going to be him. Between this and Jurassic World, which he's going to be starring in, that dude is going to be the big name for a little bit.
Well, I mean, I mean, Guardians has a lot to do with that, but having two big movies in a year does that to you.
Hmm.
But yeah, so Guardians is continuing to straight up burn up the box office. It is absolutely insane how much money this thing is making.
It's
Beyond,
its globals numbers are coming in too, and it still doesn't even have openings in I think it's Germany, Italy, China, and Japan.
that's the big one is China and Japan.
Yeah.
Who knows how well that's going to do? I think that they were smart to hold off on China for a while. It will probably be hurt by piracy,
Hmm.
but let's be honest, they wanted to be away from Transformers in China.
Yeah, and it's not going to be the worst thing. It's not as that it's going to destroy what this movie's going to make. It the fact it's made this much money in the U.S. is enough for them to be like, well, this was a fucking success. So if they maybe lose out on a little bit of one particular market, it's not going to be a huge loss.
But I think that this is going to be one of those things that when the sequel hits, and they'll probably do a closer global rollout for the sequel,
Hmm.
it's going to make gangbusters overseas after
Oh
this.
God, yes.
That is the thing that I'm most excited about to see how much Guardians makes. I mean, God, it could be the same movie again, and it will probably make ungodly amounts of money.
It's actually amusing. I was reading a story today that Batista, the guy who played Drax in the movie, for those of you who aren't aware, is a WWE superstar, was rather formally before he went into going into acting. And prior to Guardians coming out after it was filmed, he came back to the WWE, had a very interesting return wherein people hated him because they just didn't want him back at that time. So everyone thought, oh, when he comes back, it's going to be a lot different because now people are going to be really positive about this guy and they're going to want him back. Now he's saying, I might not even come back. This was such a success. I don't think I ever need to go back to wrestling at all.
I'm laughing at that, but I don't think you probably should have said that.
Why?
If he ever does.
Oh no, no. I don't think he's saying it in the sense of like I don't need, their money or anything like that anymore. I just think he's like I just don't think I need to come like I should just like maybe it's better if I just focus on movies right now.
Maybe, but I always say when it comes to shit like that, I would err on the side of caution.
Oh, he ain't no Dwayne Johnson, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
there's only one person I think who's ever going to come from wrestling and be a successful movie star.
Mm. But when it really boils down to it, I'm pretty. I can't wait to see what he does in another movie because right now everyone's waiting to see what he does next to see if it still holds up.
Mhm.
Because yeah, we all know how that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, this is his only other big movie he was in the Riddick movie, and that was not something that I was like, what a defining role.
Looking back on it, it wasn't that bad.
No, it was kind of average, but yeah,
He
it
had a role
was.
to play, and he didn't have much range to play with it.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much it for the Guardians news. I mean, there's not really much else to talk about for the main reason that it's numbers.
It's doing extremely well. So anybody who is, it's beat my number. That's the big thing. It's now officially beaten my number of what I considered a success for the movie,
Mm-hmm.
which was 450 million. It's surpassed that and going to keep surpassing that. So extremely just huge success for this movie. I think Disney recently put out numbers. Their third quarter profits are up an obscene amount based off of the success of Guardians of the Galaxy and a couple other properties they have. The Marvel stuff is just doing gangbusters for them right now.
I really wonder what their new like merchandising is doing because of Guardians. Like, how good is the Guardians merchandise doing?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to know that, but would I actually care?
I'll be curious because it's not like it's when Turtles came out. That was the end cap thing at my Target. So I'm curious if it's the same elsewhere or if Guardians is just getting a different presence somewhere else.
Well, usually it'll go based on sectors. So like based on how those marketing fucking people do it, but usually they're very homogenous.
Hmm.
They'll be like, "Here's your new end cap schematics, do it." But who knows? Guardians is now getting to the point where I'm wondering how many Star Lords I'm going to see on Halloween.
Oh, you're gonna see a shit ton. You're gonna see a shit ton. I honestly, I may be a Gamora. You never know.
I actually thought you were going to be Cap because of obvious reasons.
Well, maybe it'll be a combination costume between the two of them.
Gamora as Captain America.
Yes, I'm Gamora America.
Gamora in a Captain America costume.
Or Captain America in a Gamora costume.
That
Think
could
about
work.
that.
That could
Yeah.
work.
I get the pecs just to hide them behind some skin tight fucking black leather fishnet costume.
Moving on. But yeah, so I did start seeing some stuff pop up for Halloween costumes and a fucking Kmart email.
God, I just realized how fucking close Halloween is now.
It is. That'll be another thing that I'll probably have to scope out and see how popular certain costumes are. I imagine that the Cap and the Winter Soldier costumes are probably going to be a little big,
Hmm.
as I have seen some of those pop up.
Oh, Winter Soldier would be a fucking pimp ass outfit if
It's
the
not
metal
like
arm
I
looks good.
spent a couple hours yesterday drunkenly looking up how like I want those goggles. I want the goggles and the face mask, and they were like, "You could custom make them." I'm like, "That's effort.
Yeah, that is too much work. I don't know time
Give
for
me
that.
something that's like 50, $60, and I'm fine."
Yeah, come on now.
Come on, or at least the goggles for that, because those are pretty cool. But yeah. Other speaking of that, I got incredibly weak willed and bought the digital version of the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
You're
did.
still gonna buy the Blu-ray too?
Yes,
Oh, you're a sucker.
I am, but I wanted to watch it.
If it helps, I came really close to renting the movie on Redbox, despite the fact I was like, I'm just going to buy it. Why am I like, can I not wait until I have the spare cash to just buy the fucking movie?
Is it even at Redbox right now?
I thought it was.
Can't
I
be,
thought
because the movie's not out yet. Unless you
I,
were thinking of something else. Maybe the first one was there.
I'm going crazy.
I think you're insane.
Oh, okay. Well, that adds up.
Yeah, it's not at Redbox.
Huh. All right then. I'm just insane then.
Mm-hmm. Amazing Spider-Man 2's there if you want to watch that.
You know what? And this is off topic, but I did find out something amusing about the Spider-Man DVD.
Mm-hmm.
You know that Peter meets his father scene I talked about like a
Yeah.
week ago? I found out the context for it.
Yeah.
That scene was a cut ending for the movie.
What?
There was originally a plan for Amazing Spider-Man 2 to end with Peter's dad revealing, I've been alive the whole time and I've just been faking my death to hide from Oscorp.
Okay.
And I guess the studio guys were just like, this is going to be really confusing for everybody because people who are new to Spider-Man are going to be like, well, I thought he was dead, and then people who are Spider-Man fans are going to be like, well, this has never been a part of Spider-Man canon. So everybody was just going to be really confused and like, all right, I guess we'll just cut him out, and presumably that's not a storyline they'll follow up on.
I would imagine not if they cut it.
But I just find it so strange that there's a cut of the movie out there where it's like, yeah, it ends with fucking Peter Parker's dad is alive. What's so strange about that?
I do wonder how bare bones that Blu-ray is because the rental version, because they will do that. They'll make rental versions bare bones.
Hmm. Oh,
Just
I'm sure if you get the red box version, it's fucking.
depends on the studio.
Hmm.
But so that's enough of us talking about things of that nature. Uh, which I will mention, there has been no new updates on the upcoming Blu-rays of Avengers. Sorry, Avengers, Agents of Shield, Cap, or the eventual release of Guardians. We probably won't know about Guardians until October.
Yeah, I imagine Guardians will probably take a little bit before we'll start hearing some stuff about that. I mean, it's still in theaters right now.
Sometimes they'll announce that shit soon, so that it kind of gives it a push to go see it again in the theaters.
True.
Will they'll
And I
say will they'll say like these are going to be the features in there, blah 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 blah.
and I know full well my intention is to probably I want to see Guardians again while I still can too.
I
So
still haven't seen it again in the theaters.
you only saw it the first time?
Only the first time. Every
I'm
single time I'm about to go, something comes up.
I'm 3 times into it now, and I'm trying to just find people who I can convince to go see it a fourth time.
Like today, because I was gonna go. I usually try to go on Tuesdays for $5 movie night, and today I spent it censoring boobs.
You still working on that?
Dude, dude.
How many boobs can there be?
Uh, there's an entire maze of them.
Oh God, I'm sorry, dude.
I have a screenshot to show you. But while I'm digging up said screenshots, you can be horrified. You have some news to talk about.
Yes, we have plenty of news to talk about. Now, do you have any particular thing we want to talk about? There's some casting rumors. There's some Captain America 3, some stuff about the Netflix series.
Let's start with TV first.
Okay, we'll start with TV. So we got some stuff about we got 2 interviews regarding the Netflix series to talk about. First one's a pretty simple one. There was an interview with Vincent D'Onofrio regarding the upcoming Daredevil series he's playing the Kingpin in. And it's a pretty interesting interview. You can find it over at screencrush.com. He has some 2 good quotes here that I just kind of like from it. He was talking about what it's like to be acting in a Marvel property. And his quote is, "The thing about Marvel is they're into real acting. They're looking for artists that are willing to take chances and willing to create characters, even if that character has been around for years and years in comic books. They are still depending on us to create something and take it somewhere else."
Huh.
And so it's interesting that that's Marvel's plan. So like, look, we know this character has its own origin, and we casted you kind of for that. But if you have a way you want to take them somewhere else, go for it. And the way D'Onofrio is talking about this is, I really think they're building up to this notion that the Kingpin we're going to be getting in this Daredevil series is going to be a different kind of Kingpin than we've seen in like the Spider-Man cartoon in the '90s, or definitely over the Daredevil movie from the '91.
Rest in peace,
Um,
Marco Clark Duncan.
Yes. So very different from those, but interesting there. And he has another one here too, in regards to what the future plan for the Netflix stuff is. It's obviously super cryptic because the Marvel snipers are on watch. But
Mm-hmm.
in regards to the answer, he said, "Well, I think they have some kind of plan. I'm not really allowed to discuss what the plan is, but they have a plan. I think the beginning of the plan is series stuff with Netflix, and then they have a bigger plan to branch out. But I wouldn't be able to tell you specifically what it is."
Damn.
So it's some very interesting stuff he put out there. Um, I have another interview here that might elaborate a little bit more on that. And this is an interview with Ted Sarandos, who is the chief content officer. He did an interview with Empire Magazine. And in it, he's just talking about the Netflix series. One little piece that he mentions is that Marvel is currently casting their Jessica Jones, which might suggest that of the 4 Netflix series we know they're creating, it might suggest that they're working on hers next, or if not, at the very least, they're looking to include their Jessica Jones in that Netflix series. So if it's not Jessica Jones as the next one, maybe it's Luke Cage. Jessica Jones might still be in that series if they're casting her now.
And it would also make sense because there's the clamor for female heroes right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
It'd be a good time for it. He did note he does not rule out the idea of the Netflix characters cross into the movies. I know some people have been concerned about that, but he had a really cool quote here, and this kind of ties a little bit more into what Vincent D'Onofrio was talking about. "The series will not be afraid to go darker than the film did. What we love about this particular set of heroes is that they're a little bit more down to earth, costume wise, and also in that gritty crime stories, more in the streets than in the clouds." And they're kind of talking about what they're building here with this Daredevil series, in that this Daredevil is not going to be like the Ben Affleck movie. I think all of us have kind of imagined that, but they really are setting us up that this is going to be a very dark take of the Marvel kind of movies. At least that's the impression they're trying to build.
mm-hmm.
So this is going to be definitely a much different experience than what you'd get with your big, Iron Man movies and such like that. They're telling a much different story here. They're trying to take this ground level, street level, and really build this gritty experience that I think is going to do well considering the people that have involved in this thus far.
Mm-hmm.
So some cool stuff there. Oops, what happened there? Okay.
That was that.
Got a cool little piece here of Agent of Shield news. Agent of Shield is just nonstop talking about new people they're putting into this. A new character has been introduced or announced rather to be in this season's Agents of Shield. Crusher Krell, aka the Absorbing Man, is going to be in this season's Agents of
Ooh,
Shield.
that's an interesting
Uh,
one.
he's going to be played by Brian Patrick Wade, who I do not know. But yeah, Crusher Krell, the Absorbing Man in this season's Agents of Shield. They've got a pretty stocked lineup right now.
That's the second Hulk character? Hulk villain?
Yeah, I mean, I see him generally associated with the Hulk, though. I think he's one of those villains who's kind of become more amorphous as time's gone on and just kind of
Yeah.
sits with whatever
I'm
story
forgetting
gives
the
him.
one towards the end of the pre-Winter Soldier stuff.
Mhm.
Who was that again? I can't remember.
Uh,
No, that was post-Winter Soldier. Sorry, because that was part of the breakout.
I know who you're talking about too. I just can't. I'm totally blanking
I'll
on
I'll
it.
take I'll take a look at that while you talk.
Okay, so there you go, Crusher Krell, aka the Absorbing Man. Very cool there. Um, little other piece of news that this may be kind of half news, but I thought it was worth talking
Man,
about.
half news is best news.
Yes. Neil Marshall, who was one of the directors from Game of Thrones,
And also
was.
directed some really good movies like The Descent.
Mhm. He did an interview with VanityFair.com. You can check it out there if you want to. It's generally Game of Thrones centric, but I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, so definitely go check it out for that. But it does eventually spiral into a discussion on uh, whether or not he would be interested in directing a movie that would lend into this big, attitude on the internet to get a female-centric superhero movie out there. And for those of you who don't know this, the guy he's most known for directing the episode Blackwater,
Hmm.
which was this huge naval epic battle in Game of Thrones, considered one of the best episodes of the series. Uh, when he was asked if he'd be interested in directing, he was immediately like yes, and the first name he throws out is Scarlett Johansson. And he mentions he's not a big fan of like superpowers. So the clear follow up question was, well, would you do a Black Widow movie? His response was, I would love to do a Black Widow movie. That's perfect. I would love to do that. The character is interesting. She doesn't have any superpowers. She just has extraordinary skills. And the world she comes from, being this ex KGB assassin, I find that really fascinating.
Yeah.
So it's nothing. This isn't saying he's doing it or anything like that. But it is cool that there's someone out there who has this kind of clout, who's like, no, I would love to do that. You
Yeah.
know, this is a guy that if Marvel, and we know Marvel has no problem with picking up Game of Thrones directors and giving them big properties. I think it was, oh, what was his name? Who directed Thor: The Dark World?
Those guys, whatever.
Yeah, they whoever was directing Thor: The Dark World was also a Game of Thrones director. So it'd be awesome if this is something that they do pick up too, because we know based off of what he did in that Blackwater episode, this guy can do really cool action pieces. So I'd be very interested to see what he would do if he did get attached to it. This is just kind of wish fulfillment. I mean, nothing else, but I did think it was a cool thing to get someone out there saying something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, some Captain America 3 news has come out.
Oh.
A lot of Captain America 3 news because there's a lot of interviews being done now based on the fact that Captain America 2 is coming out on DVD, so a lot of people are being interviewed for it. And one thing we got was Jeremy Renner was getting asked in an interview regarding what he might be working on in the future regarding Marvel movies outside of Age of Ultron. And his quote is, "The rumblings of Captain America 3. I don't know what's going to happen there. I've got to find out the time, man. I'm just trying to stay home and I can't." It's not a quote directly saying I'm going to be in Captain America 3, but it sounds like, yeah, I'm going to be in Captain America 3 because my fucking schedule is not clearing up at all.
They also did say that he was supposed to be in Cap 2, but that the
Yes.
schedule did not allow it.
Yeah. And they said they didn't have enough of a script for him at the time. They didn't have enough of a role for him
For him, or
in
else
the
it'd be
movie.
like a Thor type cameo again.
Yeah. So they
Hi,
were
I'm in
like,
the nest. Bye.
yeah, bye. Flies away. But another interview happened with the Russos discussing Captain America 3. And there's not a whole lot of big information in here. One thing to note is that Henry Jackman will be returning to do the score, which I'm super excited about because I loved the score of Winter Soldier. Henry Jackman's one of my favorite composers that are out there right now. For those of you who don't know, he did both of the scores to Kick-Ass, the Kick-Ass movies, and those are some of the best like superhero scores I think that are out there right now. But he's returning, which I think is super cool. But they talked a little bit more in regards to how they want to address characters within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, using the example of Batroc the Leaper. Batroc the Leaper in the comic books is this, super snooty Frenchman who jumps around on people, hence the term the Leaper, and kind of a very silly character. But if you saw Winter Soldier, you know that they put him in the movie, and they talk about the kind of attitude they have when it comes to taking a character silly like that and putting them in the series. The quote is, that's where we look for our inspiration, is to be grounded in the real world, and then we just apply it to the character. You're referencing that Batroc is essentially just a couple steps away from being a terrorist, as a mercenary for hire.
Yeah.
So he's not too dissimilar from like Mexican cartel members or something like that. So they were like, let's take that, let's kind of ground him in our reality in that sort of way, and then we'll play up to how we can, best homage to the character from the comics.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of attitude that we know Marvel's doing, and that's what they're doing right now.
Which is awesome.
Yes, it is extremely awesome and very cool to hear that they're doing that. Now, I got two pieces of news here, and these are rumor news. And the first one here is probably it's a strange piece of news. It's being floated around a lot like it's a big deal, and I feel like it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But the first piece of rumor news we have here is that Daniel Radcliffe was in an interview recently, and he mentioned during the interview that he's had a meeting with some people from Marvel.
Yeah.
Now,
I imagine a lot of actors have those meetings.
yes. Now, the thing about it is, if you haven't seen it, it's he's being interviewed by Edith Bowman regarding a new movie he has, and it's a long interview. It's like 16 minutes long, and he doesn't mention anything about Marvel until the very end. And when he's talking about it, it's actually in reference to the fact that he was at Comic-Con. He was impressed by a lot of the costumes there, and he mentioned, he's like, I was having a meeting with some of the guys from Marvel, and they had said, oh, we don't even worry about building new costumes anymore. We just wait for someone from Comic-Con to do it. Now, a lot of people are trying to read into this because when he first says, I had a meeting with some of the people from Marvel, he kind of has a little bit of break in his cadence. And some people are thinking, well, that's him realizing that he's mentioned that he's had meetings with people from Marvel and maybe realizing he's already gone too far into it. He doesn't elaborate further. And a lot of people are trying to make this out to be a bigger deal than it is. I feel they're already trying to like dreamcast him into things. I don't feel like this is something that necessarily has any per se guaranteed merit to it.
We all know he's gonna play Harry Potter man.
Yeah, he's gonna be fucking. He's gonna be Magic Dude.
Turns out he's actually Doctor Strange.
That's the fucking casting that everyone's
Really?
Like, oh yes, a lot of people are like he must be Doctor Strange.
Sorry, he's not old enough.
Not old enough, and also it's almost a little too on the news to be like, yeah. But no, a lot of people were saying
I would I would imagine, even though it's probably a phone role, he'd probably say no.
Yeah, the thing is that I like Daniel Radcliffe. I think he is good, and if he had a role in the Marvel universe, I think that'd be awesome. But the fact that this is really not anything. This is someone hearing something and then elaborating further. This is what everyone said when they were like, Nathan Fillion's going to be Nova because he has a cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy. This feels exactly on that same level, that people hear one little thing and it just gets expanded upon until everyone's like, well, this is a huge story. It's really not. He barely mentions Marvel, and it could just be, oh, I had a meeting with Marvel, maybe, and if there is, some hesitation on his part, it may just been, oh, I shouldn't have talked about that because nothing's confirmed, or maybe I'm just going to be releasing a can of worms that maybe I shouldn't. But really, he doesn't say anything on it. So if he gets announced as being a part of something, that'd be awesome. But I don't think it's anything to really pay too much attention to.
Mm. Rumors are good times.
Yeah, but we got one last rumor here.
Uh-oh.
And this is an exciting one, but it's also a very depressing one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like it's not true. Or at least it doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
That is, and this was reported in by thisisinfamous.com, that Jack Huston is rumored to be in the running for Doctor Strange.
Okay. You seem pretty excited about him from the Boardwalk.
I love Jack Huston as Richard Harrow on Boardwalk Empire. He was absolutely incredible in the role. If you haven't caught him before in that, it's really one of the best characters in television in my mind in the past decade, and he carries that character so much on his acting. He's absolutely phenomenal in that role. So I was a huge fan of Jack Huston going into it, and when I heard he's in the running to play Doctor Strange, it hit me. I was like, that could be another kind of like
the Marvel casting.
a right on the nose Marvel casting that we're
Yeah.
all big fans of because he has the look, he definitely has the acting chops. He fits exactly with what Marvel would be looking for, where they're like, it's kind of an under the radar name. This is someone who we could sign to a big term contract, but we know has the talent that when we put him into the role, we can make him a bigger star.
He's willing to play ball, all this nonsense, and I mean, it's not the first person they've taken from Boardwalk now.
Yeah, I mean, we can clearly see that they've pulled some more people. This news to me would be the most exciting thing. Like I would be like Avengers. What fucking who cares? Richard Harrow is gonna be fucking Doctor Strange. The problem with this though is the news source. This is infamous.com. This is an exclusive from them. Any other news stories you hear reporting on this all link back to this. They're all saying, well, this is infamous reporting. I have no idea what this is infamous.com is.
Neither do I.
Um, this is the first I've ever heard of their news source. If you follow their website, it just seems like kind of any, geek news website. They talk about wrestling and comics and all that. Their Twitter account has less than 1,000 followers, so I'm just led to believe that this is not a big name news source. And it's at that point now where I'm like, I don't want to buy into this
But you
because
want to buy into it.
I don't want to be disappointed. But now that I've wanted this, I can't unwant this.
I know exactly what you mean. It's just that perfect kind of casting, the casting that you didn't even know you wanted.
I wanted it, but I never thought it could happen because I was just like, this is just me being a big fanboy and, trying to see my two worlds collide. Like when after The Dark Knight came out, I did like a top 10 list of like who should be the next Batman villains, and half of my list were people from Lost because I was just like, I fucking love Lost. And I think all these guys could do a great role in that. And then I realized, after the fact, I'm like, that was just wish fulfillment on my part. So I thought it was the same thing. Like, oh, they're not going to cast fucking someone like that for Boardwalk Empire in the lead role. But hearing it as like a reported, like he's in the running, I just sit down like, I fucking want it so bad now.
I'm so sorry if it turns out to be wrong.
And I feel like, here's the thing. It's like, it has a chance to be awesome. Like if I just step away from it and then, 3 months from down the line or something like that, Marvel's like, fucking Doctor Strange's coming out, Jack Huston as it. It's going to be awesome. But the moment they do announce who it is and it's not Jack Huston, I'm going to be so disappointed. Unless they find someone else who's even more perfect and I haven't considered it, and I'm just like, that's fucking awesome. But all the other names you've heard thrown out for Doctor Strange right now, with the Jared Letos, the Johnny Depps, the Joaquin Phoenixes, the Daniel Radcliffes recently, all those pale in comparison in my mind to what could happen if Jack Huston had the role.
Yeah.
Because I just feel it's so on the money, so perfect for them. I believe in that guy's acting talents. I feel like his ability, he played such a dark character on Boardwalk Empire, someone who was drowned in so much depression and thing like that. I feel like he could bring a very interesting tone to Doctor Strange and carry him into that. But I've seen him in other, commercials and things like that where I'm like, I know he can be beyond that. He can be happy and fun and be like a joke character that Marvel always likes to put in there. You can carry that humor. But I really feel like you take that kind of dark world that this character embodied in Boardwalk Empire and you put him into this insane visionary world that Scott Derrickson is going to be building for the character. And Kevin Feige has noted, he's like, this is one of my favorite heroes I want to put into this universe because it opens up so much for us. I'm like, this could be such a huge thing for him. I feel like all these pieces together could be absolutely awesome. I want it to happen so bad. So bad.
And then they're like, Carl Urban as Doctor Strange.
And I'm just like, what the fuck? Or Ben Affleck, Doctor Strange. Like, motherfucker.
That would actually be pretty in for Carl Urban.
Oh, what the? I thought you said Keith Urban. I was like,
no,
what
I said
thing.
Carl.
I was hearing what my mind wanted to hear, I guess. I was like, Keith Urban. I do love that guy. Carl Urban is Doctor Strange.
It would work.
I just feel he's too, like...
Awesome?
I just have a trouble feeling like the same guy who was such a good Judge Dredd could be at the same time a really good...
And Bones. And McCoy, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. I had as a photo of Deborah Ann Wool on the set of Daredevil, and she's pulling up her stocking. What a weird photo for this to be released.
Here you go.
What a weird... This is so strange. Why is this like the first photo of her? It's her adjusting her stocking.
Also, don't forget, Carl Urban was great as the Doom guy.
The Doom guy?
He was the player character from Doom in the Doom movie.
You act as though I've watched the Doom movie, and I know it had The Rock in it, but no.
The Rock was the
No.
villain.
I love The Rock as a villain. Speaking of Rock and villains, you know he hasn't decided yet if he wants to play Shazam or Black Adam.
Oh man, he must be holding out for money.
You know what? Good for him. Get a little money there.
Get it? He's like, yeah, you want me.
You need
You
this.
need this. But yeah. So any other news you're gonna throw at us?
No, that's more or less it. There's some small stuff here to talk about, but nothing really worth. There's a first look at Lucy Lawless as her character in Agents of Shield, but it's just Lucy Lawless with short hair. So unless that was something that was very compelling for people, um, no, I don't think you need to worry about that. Some Ant-Man helmet schematics released. Joss Whedon posted a joke on Twitter about what Marvel's Phase 3 is going to be, which was Ant-Man, Ant-Man, Woman Man Thing, Union Jack, A Brief History in Time, and Howard the Man.
That's pretty fantastic.
It's pretty amusing. Uh, but now all people are like, does this mean there's not going to be a Union Jack movie?
No, no, there probably isn't going to be a Union Jack movie.
There was actually one other thing that came up. There was another interview with the Russo brothers regarding Captain America 3. I didn't necessarily want to bring this up, but I suppose I can just to catch your reaction from it. You may have missed this when it came out. But they were talking to the Russos in regards to this from Collider, regarding who we might see in like the Black Widow kind of role in Captain America 3. And Joe Russo's response was, it's such a hard question because we've kind of already done that, saying that they've already built the characters into the screenplay. And they say, do they have to be under the contract of Marvel? Maybe they're at another studio. And it's sort of a weird statement. People are like, does that mean like Marvel's finally got a deal together with someone, with Spider-Man or something? I'm like, no, that would be a bigger thing to announce than just, hey, it's going to be in Captain America's next movie, Spider-Man. The first thought I had when I heard that, I was like, maybe Namor.
Maybe.
Maybe they'll slip him into it some way because he's still technically in some fashion over with Lionsgate, or not Lionsgate. Is it Universal?
Universal.
Universal. He might still be in there in some way. But the other quote they had in this was in regards to a team up in Captain America 3, and Joe Russo's response was, listen, when I started collecting, The Secret Wars was one of the first books I ever bought, so that's always been an obsession of mine to see something of that scale done, a crossover. I don't know if it would ever be possible with all the different situations at studios, but I would love to see a lot of characters on screen together.
They don't have the rights to the Skrulls, so they're not doing it. Bam! There's the response.
They have the rights to the Skrull. They just don't have the rights to the Super Skrull, or particularly the one that has the Fantastic Force power.
I thought they didn't have the Skrulls, period. I thought they were still in the Fantastic Four.
No, they have the rights to the Skrulls. They just don't have the special ones.
When did they get...
They've always had it.
Really? Because that's why they used the Centauri. Because they didn't have the Skrulls. Because the Centauri are the ultimate version of the Skrulls.
I don't know exactly, but I know I've heard Kevin Feige in interviews talk about how they own the rights to the Skrull. They can use the Skrulls. They just can't use the particular special one. They can't use the one that has the Fantastic Four powers, and they can't use specifically the what is it? The Super Skrulls, I think they're called.
I don't know. That sounds off to me, because that's why they use the Chitauri.
Maybe it is something they picked up recently, but I'm pretty sure I've heard in recent discuss that they have the rights.
Because
to
otherwise
Skrull.
they would have made it the Skrulls in the Avengers.
Hold on, wait. Let me check something here.
Okay.
Skrulls, because I thought I heard that there was even a.
Because I thought those were still tied to the Fantastic Four license. Just like
I'll look this up for you. But even beyond that, the Secret Wars just
is a mess.
It's from what I gather, it's essentially like God just pulls everyone and is like, "Hey, fucking fight."
Kinda.
And it, heavily involves Doctor Doom.
Oh, sorry, my brain just went to the wrong Secret one. I went Secret Invasion in my head. Yeah, Secret Wars is just, it's like Civil War. It's probably not going to happen just because it does too much for this. By the way, there is a news piece that you did miss.
Oh, okay.
It was on the same website that you were talking about earlier with the news for Doctor Strange. This is
Hmm.
infamous because I was trying to find the news article and I bumped in saying, "Oh yeah, the third Avengers movie is going to be Avengers in Infinity,"
Yeah, I heard that's the working title right now, but that
and
I don't know why the news story it's another exclusive.
yeah,
So I was like, it's weird because this one didn't catch on as much as the other one. So I was like, I'll
I
just
think it
sit
was
back on
because
this.
everyone's like, "Yeah, it makes sense."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, it's not a big surprise. Infinity Gauntlet, kind of what we were expecting.
They probably don't want to call it the Gauntlet. It ties in with what we said. I think was it last week or the week before when we actually said the third one might be called Avengers Infinity because it is. They've been the one movie that they've titled after a tie-in comic, which is Age of Ultron, and not making it about that tie-in comic at all, just because it's from the comics. So some people go, "Oh, I remember that from the comics."
Hmm.
So who knows?
This is in regards to the Skrulls. Kevin Feige, in 2009, was asked, "Will the Skrulls be the villains in Avengers?" He gave them one of those looks and says, "We do own them." And then a follow up in 2012, are the Skrulls currently occupied outside the Marvel Cinema Studios universe? He says, yes, the Skrulls have a big connection to the Fantastic Four, so there are some contractual limitations about who can do what when it comes to the Skrulls. Though that is not why we didn't do the Skrulls. There was already enough going on in the movie. And then James Gunn recently was in an interview and discussed it. He says Marvel only partially owns the Skrulls, and also for the record, we don't own the Badoon either.
Makes sense. So
Yeah, so
I
they,
guess I
they
was kind of right ish.
yeah, it's they own the scrolls, they can use them, but they can't exactly. I know there's limited. I know it's specifically they can't use the one that has the Fantastic Four powers, and I think that applies to like a specific kind of scroll, which is the Super Scroll.
I also wonder if they have the Secret Invasion kind of scrolls. They have the rights to those too.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe that's the Super Scrolls they're talking about.
No, the
I don't know.
Super Scroll is a specific character. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I was just wondering maybe they don't have or they don't have like full movie rights. Who the
They
fuck
must have
knows?
some, or else they
They have
wouldn't
like
mention
partial movie
having.
rights.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe it's like how they have to work Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, and there's a way they can use them, but they can't reference particular things. So
And they just make them German.
yeah, they're like, we also German scrolls.
Yeah,
We all
yeah, all the scrolls turn out to be German, and then it's
yeah
horribly offensive.
hey, we are the scrolls. We want to conquer. You know, we're not being an allegory to anything from your Earth's history.
Would you like to
We
join the
just
trade yard?
Yeah, we just, we see like all you humans should have blonde hair and blue eyes.
This
And
makes
those who
sense.
don't, yeah, you look
Want
best
some
that way.
sausages? Yeah, that went places.
I think it's interesting on the Badoon. It's kind of sad,
It is kind of sad, but yeah,
but the Badoons are dickheads, so I guess fuck them.
yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, those jerk faces.
They also probably don't want to do the Badoon for one other reason too.
What's that?
It's very similar to some, I think, what is it called in John Carter of Mars? I believe. What do they call Mars? Because they call it something similar to that, which is probably Disney's like, no, no,
Just no.
no. But no, that's interesting in the Marvel news sector.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Not like a crazy big news week, but there was some interesting stuff. Some
whenever we say that shit happens.
Yeah, I feel like tomorrow they're just gonna be like, Jack Huston's fucking Doctor Strange, and the next week I come in and I fucking come on air for fucking an hour and a half.
The entire hour is going, oh!
It's just me jerking off furiously into my mic, like, Frogger, did you hear? Did you hear? He is gonna be Doctor Strange.
The rest of the podcast has been cut for sexual content.
If you want to hear, as a director's cut, it's just me grunting into a microphone for
No, the Chris cut,
an
because
hour.
the director ain't having none of that shit.
I put director in quotes.
Hey, editor's cut then.
Yeah.
There's no director here. But yeah, I'm pretty psyched about all this shit happening. I'm psyched to have an official version of Captain America in my hands, so I can listen to that awesome commentary track. Um, I did have something funny Marvel related happen to me in the real world.
Oh, really?
I had to jump into a car that my sister's been driving, and on the passenger seat was the Awesome Mix CD.
Oh, really?
So I'm like, good job.
That is pretty sweet. That's I don't know if we ever mentioned that. Do we mention that's been the number one album
I
in
don't think
America?
we mentioned that, but it's not surprising because it's a great mix.
It is. It also goes to credit that this year's pop scene is awful, 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 and nobody cares about it.
It's just people whining into microphones.
Well, it also there's also been like five new songs in the past like 4 months. It's been a really weird climate for pop music
And
this year,
then
and
I
everything
can't.
that has come out has been awful.
And then like Nikki, however you pronounce her last name, puts a Mystery
It
Science Theater reference in her music video, and it's weird.
That was a very strange thing to happen.
I know. All of a sudden, Mystery Science Theater shadow puppets, and I like even the guys from Mystery Science Theater were like, "What the fuck?"
Weren't they like, we're not even angry, thank you.
They
But
were
this
they were
was
kind of
so
like, "Okay," but it was really funny seeing the three of them going, "Huh." I didn't see
it
Joel's
is
response, but I saw Mike, Kevin, and Bill's.
it is just so strange. Like there's so many things that I wonder if it's the actual artist. Like there's so many like weird, nerd references in music today, and I'm always curious how much of that is the actual artist's decision or how much of it is just like someone who works for them who's like, just do this.
If the animation on the actual shadow puppets wasn't as bad as it was when they were dancing towards the end, I would have thought that would have been a reference to Squirm, the episode Squirm, where it's one of my favorite jokes. They the title comes up saying Squirm, and they go okay, then they all kind of wiggle in their seats. So yeah, that happened.
Yeah, that did happen. Oh,
Actually,
and I guess technically this isn't Marvel related news though. This is technically comic book related news. Did you see that Sin City didn't just bomb? It bombed super hard.
yeah, it bombs super hard.
I actually did
Everyone is blaming the time difference on that one.
the time difference and the fucking horrendous advertising for that movie. So many people were like, "That came out," and you're like, "Yeah, I guess they just didn't care about announcing it very much."
Chris, take a look at the GIF I just sent you.
Okay. GIF. Click. Load. Squirm. You're easily amused.
I love that. Isn't that pretty funny?
I was never a Mystery Science Theater guy very much, so
Well, I don't know why, but okay.
yeah.
By the way, that the episode Squirm, for those of you wondering, is one of my favorites. It's from season 10, and it is about a bunch of mutant worms killing people in a small town. Not joking.
Is it a good movie?
Um, by their standards, probably yes,
Okay, there you go.
because they've done some of the worst movies ever. Hi, Monster a Go Go,
Ever.
and the Starfighters, a movie about jet planes refueling.
Jet planes, what?
Refueling. It's like a propaganda film for the U.S. Air Force, and there's like a 10-minute sequence of jets refueling.
Oh, wow.
It's really
All right, that sounds horrible. I stopped for a moment. I thought it was like a horror movie of some kind, and it was like, oh, it's jet planes who kill, and I was like, well, that's weird. Like it reminded me of Deathbed, the bed that eats or whatever that ate people.
hmm
I was like, oh, it must be something along those lines. But no, just planes refueling sounds much
It
worse.
sounds much more horrific.
Yeah, I was like, it's not even interesting. It just sounds awful.
Let's see here if I can dig up what they've actually done, because they've actually now that we're on them, they've actually done some of the MCU movies.
Oh, have they?
On the Rift Tracks brand, they
Mhm.
did Avengers, Captain America, and Thor.
Did they like any of them?
I think they said I don't remember. Uh, there's a very long standing thing that they have said about when it comes to movies they make fun of. I mean, they say, "Shit, we did Casablanca." We don't just do bad movies. We do movies that we like because sometimes it's easier to make fun of the things that you like than the things that you hate.
You can still point out the flaws and acknowledge that they're that
And
way,
you don't
but
even
enjoy
need
them.
to point out the flaws. You can just say that's kind of silly. And let's be honest, there's a lot to riff and make fun of, especially with Thor and Captain America. They
Mhm.
exist. I remember the Captain America one being kind of funny. I actually own those two. I don't own the Avengers one. I'll have
You
to.
don't own the Avengers one? It's a Mystery Science Theater fan and a fan
Okay,
of fucking.
okay. Do you want to hear something incredibly honest about the Rift Track stuff? I love their
Okay.
shit, but I've probably spent over $600 on their content. I don't need to own everything. I own most of their things already.
Here's like, look, guys, you got enough of my money, all right?
I kind of stopped buying once they went mostly VOD
Okay.
because they went from their $2.99, $3.99 things to $9.99. And as much as I like that stuff, I can't keep buying it.
Or you'll be broke.
And when they had a thing that was check your stats kind of a thing, and I saw that I was in the top 10% of purchasers,
Oh
I kind
wow.
of stopped.
You were like, all right, I've given you guys enough.
I have a binder of their content, a fucking binder. I think I have the first 100.
Wow.
So yes, I don't need to own everything. I think I may, in fact, actually own the Avengers one. Do I actually, if I do own it, I will watch it now. Let me double check because I just have to hit the login button and then go, hey, you've bought tons of shit. And I'll be like, yeah, yeah.
Like, here you go.
Oh, no, the last one I bought was Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Ugh.
Oh, the Twilight Rifts are the funniest fucking things ever.
Oh, but I'd have to watch Twilight.
Okay, this I know this is a side thing, but mainly because we're not going to have a ton to talk about with the main thing. Do you know why they love the Twilight movies?
Why is that?
There is so much in between lines of dialogue where nothing happens. Where when we talk about pacing, like having a conversation, people will usually respond fairly quickly. In Twilight, there's lots of pauses where people are like, "I like you." Yes, I like you as well. So they're like, they say those pauses are just the perfect place to slide in jokes where you're not talking over dialogue or anything. So they're just, I forget what they called them. They were like meaty gaps that they were easily just able to just throw in jokes and it works perfectly. That's why they absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But those are, I always say, if that's a place to start if you could stomach watching the movies.
All right, that's fair enough. I would never watch the movies though.
But if you want to see one of the newer stuff, they're doing Anaconda soon.
I do like Anaconda as a child.
They just did Godzilla, and I heard their Godzilla riff was actually really good.
Godzilla.
Oh, no, oh wait,
The,
98, sorry.
okay, I was gonna say like the current one. Is that even out on DVD yet?
No, that comes out soon, though, with a really shitty set, unfortunately. To the point
Oh,
where I'm not buying it.
is that the one you tweeted recently that you were like sad face all over?
Kind of. I was also sad face about the fact that the the Transformers art completely doesn't get Transformers again, even in its own movie.
How's that so?
Okay, this is really off topic, but here you go.
It's off topic, please. We talked about Avengers pizzas one day. We'll be fine.
We didn't release that episode though.
I know, but one day
Look at that
it's
thing.
waiting out there. Yeah, fucking, he's like, oh, what have I
Why?
lost?
Why am I in this?
It's Battle Scorn Optimus Prime. He's tragic. It's he's been hurt.
Yeah, because he's too busy not feeling like murdering people for 5 seconds. Oh
Mhm.
shit! I didn't catch that. They put up a review for the Captain America Blu-ray. I did not catch that. Yeah, the site I use, Blu-ray.com, has actually put up a review for Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Uh,
What's their review of it?
blah blah blah. 4.5
If
for the
it
movie, which I usually don't care because it's blah blah blah.
mm,
They gave the video quality a 5 out of 5.
out of okay, that's good. That's very
Detail
good.
impresses again and again without exception. Edge definition is crisp and national. Natural fine textures are exceptionally well organized. Close-ups revealing delineation is excellent. Better still, I didn't catch any significant macro blocking, banding, aliasing, ringing, errant noises, or bothersome crush, or in reality, any distraction whatsoever. Marvel's top-tier AV reputation remains intact. That was a lot of things that you have no idea what I just said.
I heard Marvel thing in top form, and I was like, yeah, that's right. They're
Well,
good.
crush is kind of important. Crush is when if I understand my AV terms correctly, because a lot of those even I didn't quite get. Crush is when something is affected so hard that it affects all the other colors around it. So like a black crush, it will like just make everything look awful
Ooh.
about it. Audio, 5 out of 5 as well. Um Blah, 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 blah. Dialogue doesn't disappoint, even in the midst of the most chaotic action or chase. Voices are clear, intelligible, and neatly prioritized without anything that might disrupt the proceedings. Captain America the Winter Soldier earns AV's top marks all around. Special features, 3 out of 5.
Special features, 3 out of 5.
Yeah, because there's not much.
Aww. Bummer.
Oh, here's something that is actually important. Also dissected, they're talking about the commentary here, is Winter Soldier's place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, its connections to other films of the series, things that set it apart, and brief teases as to where Cap goes from here.
Ooh.
Which they do from time to time in the commentaries. They do kind of tease about those kind of things.
Like, I watch it and it's just like, oh, hey, Captain America in the next movie, he's going to be black.
Or they're like, by the way, that character who died totally isn't dead.
Like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but that one dude becomes Crossbones. I'm just like, I kind of gathered. I didn't need help with that one, guys.
But it also is very nice. They didn't say. I'm actually trying to see if the 4 people are recorded separately or if they're not. They don't mention that because that was my problem with the Thor: The Dark World commentary. Is that it was Feige and Hiddleston in one session, and the directors in another session, so they were edited together. And I hate that. I cannot stand edited commentaries like that.
Yeah, it is strange. If we can't get them in the same room, why would you bother putting them on the same track?
Mm-hmm. By the way, here's the listings for the other features: 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, and that includes deleted scenes and a gag reel.
I would want to see it though. I do like bloopers and gag reels.
Their recommendation, a 4.5 out of 5. Blah.
That's good. That's like saying, hey, fucking go buy this goddamn Blu-ray, motherfucker, because it's gonna be good.
This is one of 2014's most memorable and satisfying blockbusters. Is also a gripping slice of conspiracy cinema to boot. Disney's Blu-ray is a must-own release too, thanks to a first-class video presentation and an excellent DTS HD Master 7.1 surround track. It's a bit light on supplemental material. Additional content is no doubt being held back for the Invariable Phase 2 box set, but the filmmaker's terrific audio commentary more than makes up for it as far as I am concerned. Be sure to add this one to your collection post-haste.
Well, they're telling you gotta do it, so you gotta do it.
They are. This was.
So I guess I'm gonna have to get a Blu-ray player solely so I can watch Captain America.
This is specifically the review for the 2D version of the movie. They do not have the 3D review up quite yet. So that AV presentation is only for the 2D version of it. So they haven't talked about how good the 3D master is because sometimes you could fuck up the 3D master.
Now, this is just kind of curiosity. Have you ever watched a movie in 3D at home?
Nope.
Okay.
I think out of my 3 Blu-ray players, 2 of them can play Blu-rays, and none of our TVs are 3D compliant. One of them is getting patched to have 3D support.
Oh, that's good.
My PS4 is. No, I have virtually no desire to pick up the movie to play the movies in 3D at home. I'm just getting the 3D editions because they have better box art usually.
You're sad.
And plus, they tended to have better features until they stopped. And they have slip covers where the 2D ones don't.
You're still sad.
Yes. Also, the price difference is maybe $5, so yeah.
But you're buying it again.
What do you mean?
Or are you buying just the 3D version? That's it.
No, I'm buying the full set, the full 3D set.
So you're gonna buy a 3D set and then you're gonna buy a regular set?
No, it comes with 2D Blu-ray.
Oh, okay. That's what I wanted to check.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one ever will sell just a 3D version because they know not enough people have it. Usually it's its own disc because it messes with the quality master.
Kind of like Blu-rays were for a while. Well, you see, it still is kind of that way, where if you get a Blu-ray disc, you'd still usually get a DVD with it as well, like a regular DVD.
Except for the current Marvel movies, apparently, when it comes to
3D well,
sets.
that's annoying, because that's what I'd want. If I could just get the Captain America movie that way, like if I get the Blu-ray and get a regular disc with it, I totally would, because I'd be like, eventually I'm going to get a Blu-ray player, but I fucking want to watch this movie before then.
I think the 2D one comes with the DVD, not the 3D one.
If the 2D one does, I'm all fucking over that.
I would check Amazon, but we all know how that's going to work out.
You're just gonna buy shit.
No, it's not going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
By the way,
Sad connected Avengers news. I bought a calendar to track my weight loss, and I just went online to find a 2014 calendar, and the calendar I'm getting is an Avengers calendar because it was like the cheapest one I could see on there that didn't look lame. That wasn't like puppy dogs and hot dudes.
you don't want the Fireman calendar?
No, there was specifically one. It was like hot dudes playing with pets or like small animals, and I was just like, oh,
You know
it's
what? I would
$3, but
I would probably get something like that just for the joke of it.
I wouldn't because my brother would just come in my room and he'd be like, I knew it. I knew you were fucking
I do you like
hiding
dudes.
this. I knew you've been into dudes all this time. I'm just like, no, it was a cheap calendar.
Plus, I like the puppies.
Yeah, the puppies are cute.
They're being held awesomely. But yeah, so that was actually something I didn't expect to happen this soon. I thought that we'd actually have a little bit of time for the Blu-ray to hit, for the Blu-ray review to hit. So yeah, I'll go into more depth on this, and some other people's stuff. The guy also does give us some really awesome pictures because whenever they do these reviews, they also grab a whole bunch of screen grabs from their presentation. So I'm actually giving you the link right here, Chris.
Okay.
So you can see some of the screenshots that he grabs. So you can see the quality of this Blu-ray presentation. These are also usually mastered in a higher definition. So these are usually 720p or 1080p pictures. And I'm actually taking a quick look. Oh, they have a menu shot. Okay,
Oh, okay, I could dig that.
that's neat.
That doesn't look bad. It's kind of a sweet cover.
Oh, the box art, yeah,
Yeah, I could dig that.
yeah.
Although it is weird, and this isn't a commentary on the box art. It's just a weird. I don't know what pose Black Widow's did. Like, it's not like it's kind of like a overly sexual one, but it's not. It's just a weird.
It's the same one from the poster.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the art they used for Captain America: The Winter Soldier when it comes to her. It's like her with her arms out, and she has like one step forward, like
And
one leg kind of
she's
the
like
other.
a little photoshopped at the waist.
Yeah, and got a little bit of a hip sway going. I'm just like, what a weird pose. And I'm almost wondering if it's like maybe like the Avengers art where it was just her butt. Maybe that wasn't like a weird sex sells kind of thing. Maybe it's just Black Widow just always poses in these fucking weird, awkward pose. Like everyone else is like, I'm gonna be straightforward and heroic, and she's always like, look at me, I'm fucking JoJo posing over here.
All of a sudden, the Pillar Man theme kicks in for the anime.
She's just like, oh no, 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 no. I'm like, all right, I can dig this.
Okay.
JoJo and fucking Marvel together, I'll dig this.
All of a sudden, the new crossover thing happens. Your head just explodes.
I'm just like, oh, Jack Huston's gonna be Jotaro, and I'm like, oh,
Then you just die. Too much. He's gonna be
Liam Neeson's gonna be Joseph. I'm just like, oh god,
Oh
no.
my god, him as old Joseph? I would be in. That would be amazing.
Just every day, just him screaming, oh my god.
No, no, no. Him doing the stuff like, holy shit! Son of a bitch!
Oh, fucking. If you combine those two, it'd be amazing.
I would so watch that. I would, in a fucking heartbeat, I would watch Liam Neeson as old Joseph. Because let's be
Even
honest,
anything else, why not this?
why not this? Oh man. Because as of right now, in case some people who are listening don't know, I've been watching the anime.
Mhm.
I don't read the manga like Chris here does. I don't know if you still do.
It's still ongoing, so yes.
You still you're current with it, or you read it on and
I
off?
haven't caught some of the most recent chapters of the currently ongoing
Hmm.
story, but I'm up to. I've read into part 8, which is the part they're currently on.
Okay. So far, Joseph is my favorite.
There's favorite JoJo or favorite character.
Just JoJo.
Okay, because there's a lot of JoJos, and part 4 has my favorite.
I've heard that 4 is also almost as good, almost as good or slightly better than Joseph, because Joseph is pretty up there for a lot of people too. I've heard.
The JoJos, it depends. Josuke, who's the fourth part JoJo, is a lot like Joseph, and also, but he combines a little bit more with some of the badassness you get from Jotaro.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of people like. I just like him because he has both elements to him, and he has some really fucking cool scenes.
Okay. Wow, that's really off topic.
Yeah, we're on to JoJo. I did like a 2-hour JoJo podcast at one point, so I don't need to go through everything again.
But one thing I did want to mention before we get off this cover art for this Blu-ray,
Mhm.
I love how they have that shot with the Winter Soldier with the sniper rifle. The thing that is implied that he uses in one scene that we never see.
Yeah, it's always like what an assassin he is, and the first time you ever see him, it's him fucking like staying out in the street, blowing up cars.
And also, and there is a shot where he uses the sniper rifle, but we never see him use the sniper rifle. We just see him running away after doing the shot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Cap has that awesome part where he runs down the hallway and Chris starts masturbating.
I'm gonna murder you. Oh god, it's so awesome.
That shot where he bumps to the wall, though.
Oh my god, just the way Captain America moves in that movie every time. He's just like, this thing's in my way. Bam, out of my way.
I was rewatching that scene and just watching the doors explode was one of my favorite
Oh.
things. Just like, boof! And I'm like, I forgot that they were hilarious.
We never really got to talk about Captain
We
America.
will be talking about Captain America when it comes out, so that
Okay.
we actually have a chance to talk about it. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was just like, I needed to watch something, so I just bought Captain America.
I just realized because we started doing this podcast like right after it was leaving theaters. So.
Yeah, right when it was leaving. We started a little bit after the Guardians trailer hit.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was one of the big things. Was I think Guardians is actually what started this, the Guardians thing hitting.
Yeah, Guardians and reading up on that, and then all the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, because you were just like, I want to do a podcast about it, and then I'm like, I got nothing better to do on Tuesdays.
You're like, I want to do a podcast.
I've been kind of wanting to do one here and there. I mean, there's times where it's not fun.
Aw.
No, it's not fun when the homework applies and I just don't have time for it, and then it's not fun. It's work.
Mm.
I think you can empathize with that.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling from a point where I was doing like 6 podcasts a week, and it just became a chore to do half the things. You're just like, oh god, I have to watch more fucking Giants games. I love the Giants, but oh god,
No, you can't make me do it.
I don't want to. They lose 21-3. I don't want to watch it anymore.
I mean, it's not like I'm being hounded by people to read Transformers comics, and I'm like, I'm already reading enough comics right now. I love Transformers, but I'm currently balls deep in research for Doc Strange comics, trying to figure out what we're going to read. I think I may have found it, though.
I hear a lot about the Ditka run from the 70s.
Heard a little bit about that, but I'm trying to find stuff that's available.
Okay.
Is the thing. So I was looking at it's like their year 1 comic that they did a little while ago. I can't remember. This past week when I was just buying things because I needed something to do. So I just grabbed Doctor Strange stuff. Yeah, it's season 1 is what it's called. Sorry. And I was just like, oh, Doctor Strange comic, fuck it. And then I bought it, and then I didn't have a chance to put it onto my tablet, then I had to leave.
That's understandable.
So yeah, I've been just very scattershot. I bought Cap, watched like half of it, and was like,
You fell asleep during Winter Soldier.
yes.
I hate you.
I was in a waiting room from like 9 o'clock in the morning until 7 at night, and then went home at 9, and then talked on Skype for a little bit, and then I threw up the movie, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. My body's like, nope.
Can't do this anymore.
It's like, I love you, Cap.
Captain America, watch out.
Pretty much. But no, I am super pumped to toss that thing into a Blu-ray player and watch it on my 27-inch TV.
All right.
Yeah, I have a tiny TV.
Well, I currently have a big tube TV, so you're beating me.
Why do you have a tube TV still?
I just haven't ever bought a new TV.
You poor man.
I always, here's the thing. I used to live Irish Catholic family, so we kind of lived a lot under the assumption of, well, if it's not broken, don't bother getting a new one. Eventually, I've started to replace those more. I was like, fuck that, I want a new shit. But now it's just to the point where it's like, I feel like I shouldn't just go out and get like $200 TV and just be like, well, that's all I need. Like, I feel like if I'm going to, I might as well get something at least kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I'm also trying to save up to move. So it's like, should I really be spending money on a TV I may not even be bringing with me when I move?
Well, I would hope you'd bring it with you.
It might be difficult if I'm going halfway across the country.
Well, then you don't get like a 60-inch.
Well, it may be to the point where I may just pack a bag full of clothes and fly there, and I'm like, well, that's it. Everything else is going to be like, TS, you're getting left behind or sold.
Well, yeah, I can understand that to a certain extent. I'm at the point now when it comes to video games and stuff that I can't have a small TV. I can't have a tube TV.
Well,
You
that's the
can't you
thing is
can't
I
see things.
I don't play as much video games as I used to, at least not console
Hmm.
games as much. So if my notion is to get like a new console, then yeah, I'm absolutely going to, and that's my plan. It's just one of those things. I'm like, I'm moving, so should I spend that money,
Well,
knowing full well
well,
it might
don't
be
forget the
better?
PS4 can also be used as a door jamb because of its shape.
That is true. There's multiple levels to that,
Yeah,
and it does have a JoJo game on it.
PS3 does.
Well, yeah, but can't you get it on the
Nope,
network?
nope. You can
Oh,
only,
so I should only be getting the PS3 then, is what you're saying. I should say, fuck you, PS4.
or
You
I'll
don't
just
have a
send you
JoJo.
videos of JoJo because I actually have the game.
I was going to go into your stream where you played it, but I was like, if I see him playing it, I'm going to get too jealous.
Yeah, I was actually not that great at it.
Well, you weren't because I crushed you at the last JoJo game we played.
Well, okay, this is another thing that's super off topic, but that game is designed as a JoJo game first, a fighting game second, whereas the other JoJo
Mm-hmm.
game was a fighting game first, a JoJo game second.
Yep.
So this game, it's like there was one fight where you had to be Caesar at half health versus who's the Pillar Man that he fights?
Wham? No.
Is it Wham? Is the Wham?
Cars, Wham, Santana, ACDC.
ACDC is the
Uh,
final one.
no, Cars is the final
Ours is the
one.
final one.
Yeah, Cars is the final one.
Then it's
Unless they
Wham.
change it in the series. Yeah, it
That's
must be
Wham.
Wham.
And that
Yeah, it is Wham because Wham's the honorable one.
yes, and you did that fight at half health versus him at full, and yeah, he wrecked my shit. And that fight was hard. That was the fight where I'm
Which
like,
is
I'm
weird
kind of
because he
cruising through
loses
it.
that fight anyway.
Well, yeah, exactly. That was me yelling at the game, going, "I'm going to lose anyways."
What does it matter? I hate those things. If you're in like a video game that's based off a storyline and you like in the storyline that's in the media, you lose, yet somehow you still have to win the match. I'm like, what's the point?
I'm about to lose off screen
There was a this is super off topic, but
again.
it's yeah, but there was a wrestling game I was playing at one point where you'd get put in like a handicap match. You had to win it, like you're on the disadvantaged side. You had to win it, and then immediately is like the way the match ended would go into a cutscene where you get your ass beat. And I'm like, why did I have to win the match if I'm just gonna get my ass beat at the end of this? And it happened over. It was like 3 times in a row.
I'm thinking that when I'm going through all of the fights that you have to do in JoJo, there's gonna be a lot of those.
Um, there's a eclectic mix I think you'll find.
Although, one last off-topic thing about that game that sucks: Old Joseph is DLC.
Oh, what Hermit Purple version of him?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I guess that makes sense, but that is
I'm
disappointing.
like, my hands are up. No, it doesn't. He's still part of the main crew. Everybody else in his crew is in the game. Just old Joseph isn't.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of strange.
Uh,
Is Iggy in the game?
Iggy is also DLC.
Oh, again, super off topic, but my sister got a Boston Terrier,
Hmm.
and I visited her house when she had it, like the first week she had it, and I kept calling the dog Iggy,
Hmm.
and I came really close to convincing the dog its name was Iggy. My sister wanted to call it Diesel after Vin Diesel, and I was like, no, I'm going to call this dog Iggy after fucking fucking manga you've never heard about. I came really close to making it happen too.
Wow. So we were supposed to talk about music this week, but I didn't have time.
No,
That's why we're
but
really off topic.
yeah, we're rambling, but it's all right. I think people will still enjoy it, and that's all that matters.
And in the end, I mean, it's at least it's an interesting conversation. At least I hope so.
Yeah, people get to hear about Blu-rays and all these sorts of things. You're learning. I'm learning. I've learned a lot.
It's not like I had a conversation today about video mastering with somebody on Blu-rays. God, that was
You've had an educational day.
no. I was the person educating.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. When you've had a very educational day, like you've been educating
I've also been learning a lot about art lately too, but that's entirely different.
art.
Yeah.
Like you as in drawing, or just like
No,
appreciate.
art history.
Ah, okay.
Other than that, no. I bought a Blu-ray somewhat recently.
How'd that go?
It took a little while, and I was very angry at myself afterwards.
Was it? Was it a good Blu-ray?
It was the Planet of the Apes collection of the original movies on Blu-ray.
Okay.
I was angry with myself for two reasons. One, that I ended up buying it at very close to full price, and two, it didn't come with a ticket to the movie, the new movie, which
Aw.
is kind of sad. So I was hoping
Did you see the new
I
movie?
did see the new movie.
How'd you like it?
I liked it.
I liked it a
I
lot.
can understand the criticisms with it.
I hadn't seen Rise, or yeah, was it the first one, Rise?
Rise of
I had,
the yeah.
yeah, I hadn't seen Rise, but I like Dawn. Some problems with it. Fucking humans, too much of them. Shut up. Didn't like any of them.
The humans were on the cusp of there's enough of them that they should have had more depth,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't. But yeah, I thought
Still
it was a good
good.
movie overall. Should have been more about the monkeys.
Koba was fucking a great villain, though.
Yes, he was. And it also gave me one of the best shots ever, and I cannot wait to have like images of that and put it on like my backgrounds of him on horseback with two light machine guns going through
The
fire.
machine guns. I feel like that has to be like a place that they've already like taken it from the trailers and screenshot that shit.
Probably, but I want to grab my own. And it was really funny when I was watching the movie with my friend, and that happens, and I go, well, I guess they earned this.
Yeah.
Bruh.
It was such a fucking great trailer shot too. You're just like, I almost need to see the movie when to see this fucking
When does this
happens.
happen? So yeah, so very soon we're going to be able to talk about the Captain America Blu-ray, which is going to be kind of rad. You're probably not. Are you picking up the Avengers? Sorry, Avengers, Agents of Shield.
I will definitely be seeing the Agents of Shield one because I haven't seen a couple episodes, and that's the best legal way I've found to get those episodes.
Okay, because I'm probably picking up that Blu-ray set just to throw it in my collection.
Yeah, I'll pick it up mostly just because that's the best way I'm going to find to be able to watch those episodes. Although I think I did see it's on Amazon Prime
Yeah,
or something like that, so I could technically, I guess, watch it there. But I'm like, might be easier just to buy the DVD and have it.
yeah. I'm not seeing any decent pricing on it yet. They're still saying it's going to be close to 50, which it's probably not. It's going to be probably around 30 for the Blu-ray of it.
Mm.
Which I'm really hoping it is because if it's too expensive, I'm not going to buy it because I can't afford that. Not the fucking day Destiny hits. That's an expensive day. It's Destiny, Cap, and Shield same day.
Aren't you excited though?
Kind of, but the problem is it's also the day we record a podcast. So, by the way, Chris, on the 9th, I'm going to be really sick. I'm going to be vomiting all over the place.
And you're like, Chris, can we, for no reason, just bringing this up now? Can we do it on the 8th? Bring it back. Because I'm definitely going to be deathly ill on the 9th, and my car's
Exploded.
out of the shop, so I won't be able to drive to the podcast that we do online.
Yeah, but
And my dog is going to eat my equipment
my dog's
or
dead.
something. Oh. If it
Um,
helps, my mom can't say my name.
damn it, Chris. But no, that I'll actually be grabbing my Blu-rays in the beginning of the day, because I usually whenever I go to Best Buy to pick up my sets and stuff, I do it first thing in the morning, so that I have pick up the litter when it comes to quality.
You don't get some fucking scuffed up box just because it's all that's left.
Correct. I usually do that. I usually go first thing so I can do that. And fun fact, because I started doing that to the Game of Thrones sets because Best Buy does the exclusive slipcovers with the house sigils,
Mm-hmm.
which you gotta admit that's kind of rad.
What sigils do they have?
Season 1 I got Stark.
Okay.
Season
Season
2
2,
was
Lannister, I'd assume.
Lannister, and season 3 was Targaryen.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought
because for
Baratheon.
season 3 they redid ones, but there were some that were overseas that were different, which were rad. I'm totally not typing things in right now.
I'm not a fucking Targaryen fan.
Well, I had a choice of either getting Targaryens or one I already had.
Ah.
So it was Targaryen or the Starks again.
Get more Starks. They need some support, man. Things aren't going well for them.
But the thing was, I already had it.
They need help.
You're talking to someone who buys things because of how pretty they look.
I know, but come on, man. Starks need you.
You're gonna get some links here.
Sansa needs you.
This is I think the best is definitely the Lannister packaging. Look at that. Look at that shit, Chris.
Oh, let's see here. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. This was the other choice for season 2.
Ugh, yeah, you definitely made the better pick on
I
that.
want.
Fucking the Greyjoys. It's so lame. My brother bought a coaster set for a friend. It was a Game of Thrones coaster set, and like half of them are all like it's Starks, Baratheons, Lannisters, and then the last three are the Targaryens. Just like okay, the Tyrells, which is just the flower sigil. I was like that's lame, and then the Greyjoys. I was like who the fuck cares about the Greyjoys?
Let's
They
be
suck.
honest.
There's like two of them in the whole fucking thing, and they suck. All of them suck. Theon sucks. Theon blows. No one likes Theon.
Then you can see the other two there.
Targaryen. Bleh. And then Stark one's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's the first season one that I have. So I'm very happy because they all have very different colored spines. The first one is gray, the second one's red, the third one's black. So I'm very much so hoping that the next one's going to be a different color, like green or blue or.
Well, it depends on who they use for it.
They
If it's
haven't
gonna be
announced it yet. They probably won't announce till November, October, November. Usually when they announced it, everyone got really pissed because they reused them. Because this is, I know we're completely going off topic, but this is exclusives.
we need to stop saying that. Like we should just accept that the rest of this podcast is super off topic.
But when they did these sets, they had a vote like, oh, do you want these new ones or do you want these ones that we did before? So you can get them again. Everyone was like, I want the ones we already seen. And then all the people on the Blu-ray sets were like, what the fuck?
You dickheads.
It was like that. I was pissed because
You were like, for the collective we pissed.
we pissed. And most of us were pissed because it was stuff that we already had chosen. It already happened. And then we get to choose it again. I'm actually going to try to get the image so you can see what lost, and then you'll be angry. Then again, it was better than the other exclusive ones, which was people's faces.
Yeah. But if you're going by sigils, I mean, there's still a couple really good ones out there. You got the House Martell.
Here it is. Here it is. These are the ones that's like, oh, you could vote for these. Look at that.
Let's see. Uh, the Tyrell one could be okay. The Tully one, I like the colors of it, but that fish is fucking hideous.
Mm-hmm.
The fish is kind of a lame sigil. The crowned, the fucking Stannis one is awesome, but that would be black, so I guess that wouldn't go well with yours.
See, the thing was though, is that was season 3, so it would have been black or black.
Yeah.
So,
oh, then that'd be fucking perfect. I'd love the fucking shit out of a Stannis one.
yeah, all of those, I would have been perfect. I actually said when that was announced, I would have a hard time picking because those are all rad. And there was one that was who's the one that is the regular stag?
That's the Baratheons.
Okay, because that
Stannis has the one with the flaming heart, and then the rest are regular Baratheons, which I guess is no one really right now.
because that was an exclusive to like Spain or something.
Damn, that'd be sweet.
And it was red. I'm just trying to get the box art because that thing popped up. Slip. See if I can find that thing. But yeah, oh, there it is. Okay, here it is. This was exclusive to Spain, and then you're gonna be like, what? That was season 2, by the way. This one. Look at that shit.
Oh, why does it have a tiny eye? It could be awesome, but it's like a really tiny eye that looks weird.
But doesn't it look kind of rad?
It does. I like the yellow on it. Fucking the gold of House Baratheon.
It stands out on a shelf.
Mm-hmm. I could dig it.
Yeah.
I'm not a collector in the same way you are, but I would dig that.
And that's one of the reasons why I started going very early to Best Buy, because when I got my season 1 set, I had to go to 5 Best Buys because I was a day later and they were all sold out of House Stark. So I had to go to 5 Best Buys to get it. So then like season 2 hit, I'm like, no, first thing in the morning, fuck that noise.
Yeah, give it to me.
At season 3, there was a blizzard that day, so I had to drive through a blizzard to get it. And this is an actual story. This is ridiculous. So I drove through dangerous conditions on the highway to get this Blu-ray set, and they were already sold out.
Aww.
I was like, you got to be fucking shitting me.
Like, how is this possible?
And I even like I'm in the store on my phone trying to order it. So I do that, and it's like sold out of the store you're in. I'm like, motherfucker.
You're like, I'm right here.
I know. I was just hoping they didn't put it out or something. So I ordered it to another place, and I picked it up a few days later because of Best Buy's. Fun fact for anybody who wants to pick up exclusive things and you want to be able to have it and you don't have the time to pick it up, You have 7 days upon ordering, so you can plan it out when you want to go and grab something. Boom, knowledge.
Boom. Done. Bang. Done.
So that's going to do it for us this week. We kind of rambled onto things there at the end, but I think some of that is a little more interesting discussion than some of our rambles that we haven't
Yeah.
published.
I feel like we're too hard on the Avengers pizza now. I feel like we need to go back and let the world see it.
All we really discussed was the fact that Walmart had Avengers themed pizzas, but we talked about it for way too long.
No, now actually no, hold on. I've changed my mind. We can't talk about it. We need to let the mystique of it build up.
We also talked about the Ninja Turtles pizzas too.
Like people need to sit here and be like, oh,
It was about 40. It was like
the conversation.
30, was it 30 to 45 minutes?
Shut up! No, it was amazing. You guys
no.
get
30 to
hear.
45 minutes of us talking about branded merchandise.
Yeah, well, it was legendarily entertaining.
It was the most entertaining thing ever.
Yeah, you guys are like I don't want to I don't want to make you guys jealous.
9 out of 10.
It was probably the greatest thing you never got to hear.
It was
about.
so amazing that I didn't publish it.
Yeah.
It was just I put it out there. I'm like, no, this will kill people.
Yeah, like people wouldn't be able, like they'd hear it and they'd be like, well, fuck, and entertainment's never gonna get better than this. I'm just gonna stop.
Love is over.
Yeah, I'll just go outside and just live in a cave.
Gotcha.
Because there's nothing else.
So, that's gonna do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully, we'll have things to talk about next week, and we may talk about the music. Maybe Chris and I'll figure out something off camera, mic, dicks. I don't know what word we're gonna use, and figure out what we're gonna do next week because we're now at the point where we're in that small waiting period between things. Mm-hmm. There's nothing really. I think we had talked about that. It's going to be the post Guardian stuff is going to be a little dry. Then the moment Shield happens, we're actually going to be having a week on week thing to talk about. But I think that the Blu-rays for Agents of Shield will carry us until, or the whole media release, sorry, Agents of Shield will carry us until then because there's commentary, special features, all that nonsense. Same thing with the Captain America Blu-ray. Look forward to when the week that the Captain America Blu-ray hits that we will be giving a review. I won't be going over the video and audio presentation because I think I just read a good enough version of that. And a lot of that shit does come down to your own calibrations. There's things online that you should look up on how to calibrate your TVs, folks. Because
yes, you should do that.
Did you know that 75% of people do not have their TVs calibrated correctly?
I don't know if you could hear that. That was me slapping my cheeks and excited, like just completely like, what?
It's actually true. A lot of people don't.
I don't know. I do not know that.
It's mainly because a lot of people just go, well, whatever.
I don't have time for this.
And let's be honest, correctly could just mean that their brightness is a little too high.
Yeah.
Like, my backlight's off on my LCD because I can't stand it.
But doesn't have to be a big deal,
Doesn't have to be, but I thought that was worth mentioning, that there's a few sites out there that you can actually type in your calibration settings for your TV so they're set correctly. My TV was on there and actually made my picture a lot better, a lot crisper.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good.
Because, this is the reason, I know this is the final thing I'm going to mention before we actually leave. With what I do with making videos, it's very important to have my TV and what I'm recording show very similar things so that I know what I'm shooting. That's actually very important.
It's key.
A little bit, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, I definitely say that's a key thing you need to have.
It's a key thing. So, with that being said, we're all going to see you guys next week with a better topic.
Yes. And remember,
keep circulating the tapes.
Yes. Don't go see Sin City 2.
Go see Guardians again.
Yes. 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 Yes.